the Relationship Whisperer show with Miss Dragonfly, where we discuss all things relationships with the aim to make marriage great again. Now, as usual, as per the show, I will be going and looking through the astrology charts of one of these celebrities, and then I will be going into discussing relationship issues and be giving some very, very practical relationship advice. Now, a reminder that the astrology that I do is not the Western astrology that most people are familiar with, such as Leo, Libra, Scorpio, and so forth and so forth. The one I do is Taoist astrology, which is also commonly known as Chinese astrology. But however, because that astrology comes from Taoism, it rightly should be called and known as Taoist astrology. So, in line with what I've been doing, I've been looking at our Aussie girls, our famous Aussie girls, and particularly the ones that have been doing very well overseas. So, in the past, I've looked at Margot Robbie, Nicole Kidman, and today I thought I would go and have a look at Kylie Minogue. Now, our Kylie, as she also is known, or what's her other nickname? The singing budgie, the songstress, that girl. And you know what? She's also been beloved and so well known as Charlene on Neighbours, which was where she got her start. And from then, she just really took off. I mean, she is probably the most successful actor, artist, whatever that has come from Neighbours. I mean, I know Margot Robbie has come from Neighbours, but by and far, Kylie has, you can say, had a much longer run at it. I mean, I think she was started at 18 or something, and now in her 50s, she's still going. So she's had that longevity to keep going. I think the other person that's had such a longevity, I guess, would have been Madonna, the one will be even longer than she is and arguably even more famous. And yeah, we have to be honest, more famous and wealthier, I'd say, in the bang, and probably more successful, because Madonna is very worldwide. Everyone knows Madonna, and she's already huge in the US. Whereas our Kylie has been more known as Australia and very much the UK. I mean, huge in the UK, but she's never really taken off that much or been that well known in the US. So I guess she's more of a UK personality. And I'll tell you, I guess her star really, really helped her, because back then, I think in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, Neighbours was such a big hit in the UK. I think our listeners can remember that time. Those that have watched Neighbours or are in the UK or in Australia, we would have heard, it's taken up so well. And it was shown multiple times during the day. I couldn't believe it. Though and even people were coming home from work just to watch Neighbours. They were getting that addictive. And for the life of me, I'll have to admit, I was never really a Neighbours fan myself. Sure, I might have seen half an episode here and there, but I guess if you hadn't sat through from the beginning and really gone and went through it, it really didn't gel with you. And like for me, it didn't gel that much with me. So, yeah, it was so popular. And I guess because it was so popular in the UK, Kylie was the star of Neighbours. And, she got the big recognition already on Neighbours because it was such a popular soap. And so when she decided to branch into her singing career and do singing, well, I guess it would have been easy. It would be easy to take off in the UK. Come on. The star of everyone's favourite soap, and the soap that everyone's obsessed over, is now singing Well, what do you think? Yeah, she's going to get immediate fans. And so I guess I can't, yeah, begrudge her, and I can't blame her actually for moving to the UK and concentrating her work there. I mean, it was me, I would as well. And I'm sure our listeners, you would agree that if it was you and you were so popular in a certain country, that you would move there. Yeah, and and capitalize on it, which she has. So she's going to be our celebrity for the day, well, for today, that we'll be looking at. Now, before making marriage great, we are talking Kylie Minogue. That's right, our Kylie, as she is also affectionately known in Australia. Now, Kylie Minogue, a very well known Australian singer and actress. Well, she is mostly known as a singer. She is, well, undoubtedly she can act and she acts very well, but she's really much made her career in singing and in pop. Well, that's why she's also known as the Princess of Pop. That's another thing she's known as. Okay, Kylie. When was she born? She was born at 11 a.m. on the 28th of May 1968 in Melbourne, Australia. Okay. Now, that means her chart. On a chart, on a year pillar, she is a Yang Earth monkey. She's monkey. Her month pillar is Yin Fire Snake. Her day pillar is Yang Earth Dog. And her hour pillar is Yin Fire Snake again. So it's monkey, snake, dog, and then snake again. So one monkey, two snakes, and one dog. So her chart is what we'll call a resource chart. And for a resource chart, her particular elements are, well, in terms of her favorable elements, the two favorable are fire and wood, and the two least favorable are water and earth. Now, Kylie has had a tremendous career in so many decades. Over 30 years it's been. That's what her career spans, and her accolades included 2 Grammy Awards and 4 Brit Awards and 18 ARIA Music Awards. So Brit Awards would have been from Britain and ARIA is Australia. So I think ARIA stands for Australian Recording Industry Awards, I guess. ARIA. Correct, yeah. Apologies if I have interpreted that incorrectly. And she is the highest selling female recording artist from Australia, having sold over 80 million records worldwide. And in 2024, Time magazine actually named her as one of the most influential people in the world. Okay, I'm glad they did acknowledge her because it's pretty much an American-based magazine and they weren't being US-centric. Okay, so they were being fair. Now, as I said, she got her start playing Charlene Robinson in the Australian soap opera Neighbours. And it was gone on for decades. Actually, I'm not sure if it's still on or it's finally been axed. There's a thing about it. I think 2 years ago, they were saying like, oh yeah, it's going to be axed finally after so long, because they finished the contract with, I think, a network, and then the network didn't want to renew it, and so they thought about just finishing it, and then somehow it came back. I'm not sure if it came back permanently. So our viewers, if you know what the state is, please let us know. Just post it on my Facebook page. So Charlene Robinson in Neighbours she started that role in 1986 and went on, till 1988 for 3 years. Now, when she started, she was in the Yin-Wood luck cycle. Okay, what did I say? Wood is one of her favourable elements. So she got started and she got recognition in Neighbours. I mean, particularly the episode 1987 episode. It was a wedding episode with Shane in Neighbours, who was Jason Donovan. Okay, and I understand it. That episode was so watched. It made broke so many records. It was such a well watched episode. That wedding episode of Shane and Charlene, and which actually, as an aside, Jason was her boyfriend, her real life boyfriend, I think at the time, and for a little bit afterwards as well. Okay, but then she began her music career after that, after playing Charlene. Now, actually, I think even a little bit before that, she started performing as a singer, because I think there was a Fitzroy Football Club benefit concert, and she performed I Got You Babe as a duet with John Waters, and the Locomotion as an encore. Okay, so then it was retitled as Locomotion, and she was signed in 1987 with Mushroom Records, based on her popularity from Neighbours. And Locomotion was released as her debut single in Australia in 1987, and that was only 1 week after the wedding episode premiered, so that was excellent timing. You know, they took advantage of all the publicity and the attention around that wedding episode in Neighbours, and then she launched her single. And it became the best-selling single of the decade in Australia. It became very popular. I think it even ranked quite highly in the US at that time as well, you know, that Locomotion. I think it was a resung of an earlier song, Locomotion, but her version resung, repackaged, and it was a hit. So good on her. So then she released a self-titled debut album called Kylie in 1988. Okay, and so she did very well. Now that was during the rabbit luck cycle. Okay, rabbit is wood. So when she was in the rabbit luck cycle, it was 1989 that she began that luck cycle. And in 1989, she would actually starred in a movie called The Delinquents. And it was set in the 1950s, about, let's say, teenagers. I think she ended up being a teen mum or something in there. And I only seen snippets of it, but she was amazing. I think her acting skills then, with the crying and all that, it was good. She can act. Some people that, I guess, you know, you have actors turning singers, and matter if they can sing well enough. And then there's some singers that want to dabble in acting. And one that comes to mind very easily, I guess, would be Madonna. She's an excellent singer, but I've seen her in some of her acting roles. I guess in, what was it, Dick Tracy? Yeah, she starred as Breathless Mahoney, very sexy outfits, but you can see it wasn't natural. Her acting wasn't natural. And I think the one that she did okay, it was in Evita. And funny enough, that was a musical itself. So much of it was singing. You kind of think, was there much acting? It didn't seem, like acting was almost secondary to her. But anyway, Madonna can sing, but she can't act. Kylie can act very well. And I guess, personally to me, she's an okay singer. All right. So I know that probably upsets some Kylie fans, but but that's my assessment of her. All right, she's had so much of a stellar career that I think I can only cover some of the main points. It's just too much to cover. Just like, I guess, Nicole Kidman, she's been in so many movies and drama series and what have you, that it's not possible to cover it all. So we just do the main points. Now, in 19 1989 to 1991, she dated Michael Hutchence of In Excess. I should say the late Michael Hutchence. And as we know later, he committed suicide, or it was ruled as a suicide. I know everyone has their theories on that, but it was ruled as a suicide. He was the front lead singer of In Excess. So that was devastating, but it wasn't surprising because she dated him during her rabbit luck cycle. Now, House of Spouse is governed by the dog, okay, and rabbits and dogs combined. So her House of Spouse was activated during that time. So I'm not surprised that she ended up dating Michael Hutchence. And Michael Hutchence was a very notable partner, very famous partner of hers. She's had so many other partners, but none of them were as famous as Michael Hutchence. A lot of them, the names I wasn't familiar with at all. Not taking and saying that there were nobodies. I'm sure there were somebodies, but I just wasn't familiar with them, or they were just not internationally famous enough that I would have known them, if you know what I mean. Okay, moving on. In 1990 to 92, she released a couple of it. Rhythm of Love, Let's Get to It, and Greatest Hits. Okay. And in 1993 to 1998, then she entered into the Yang Wood luck cycle. So still wood, still a favorable element. And there she released Kylie Minogue, albums Kylie Minogue and Impossible Princess. And in 1997, she was in a relationship with French photographer Stephanie Senau. Pardon my French. It's French. So, yeah, with the guy in 1997. Now, I'm going to jump a bit because there's so much that she's released and done since then. I know we've heard about she fell out with record company as well, and been trying to get out of a bad contract with them. And eventually, I don't know what she had to do, but eventually she managed to get out of it. So kudos to her. Now, in 2005, something big happened in 2005. She entered the Yin Water luck cycle. And what did I say her least favorable elements were? Well, one of them was water. And what happened in that year? Well, she got diagnosed with breast cancer. Okay, and she had to take some time off, and she had lumpectomy, and what I heard was she went through some very heavy chemo, and I think, she's saying, I'm not sure, I'm paraphrasing, something along the lines where it was like a year of hell for her, like she'd been to hell during that chemo. Her chemo treatment, and I heard it is really much hell. You can't put light on it, but I think that's probably why she ended up never having children afterwards. And I think it was mentioned somewhere, I think an article about why she didn't have children after in her life. I guess because after the chemo treatment, it might have rendered her sterile. As it was to, because it is very strong and very toxic. So, but she was able to get through it, and good for her. I mean, we haven't heard of a reoccurrence, so she's been fairly, I'd say, fortunate, because a lot of other women have it, and then it comes back, and if they're lucky enough, it goes away. If not, it doesn't go away, and yeah, you know what happens. Now, 2007 to 2011. Okay. She was then, she was still in the Yin Water, but she managed to release another album, X and Aphrodite. And in 2008, she launched a range of home furnishings. Okay. Now, 2010, she entered into the Ox luck cycle. Now, ox is earth by nature, earth, but it combined it with the snake. It combined it with the snake to form a partial metal combination, and metal is a neutral element for her, so that was okay. And then that year, I guess she was invested by Prince Charles, who was then the Prince of Wales, as an officer of the Order of the British Empire. So there you go. I think she also got British citizenship as well. I think, well, surely she would have after all this time be living in the UK. So I think she's a dual citizen. And in 2012, she celebrated 25 years in the music industry. Now, it's been another 12 years since then. So you were saying 35 years now? Oh, my God. 37 years then, if we were to add another 12 years from 2012. Jeez. Now, 2013, she parted with her manager, Terry Blamey. And that's been the manager since the start of her singing career. Now, the ox does combine with the snake. Now, the snake, as I mentioned, was in her month pillar. And her month pillar also represents her career. So her career was activated there with a combination with the ox. And so with that, I'm not surprised something happened with her career. And in this instance, parted ways with her long-time manager, which is probably her only manager since her singing career. Wow. That would have been as you can imagine, that would have been a big thing. Just like parting ways with your coach or something that's been with you since you started tennis, something like that. It's a major thing, major shift. Now, 2015, she entered into the Yang water luck cycle. Not so good. She left Parlophone Records and Rock Nation. And that year, wow, she entered in a trademark dispute with Kylie Jenner because apparently Kylie Jenner wanted to trademark her name Kylie. Okay, and Kylie went and contested it. And I think reportedly what she said was, when people think of Kylie, they think of me when they hear the name Kylie. And I have to say she has a point because she's been trading as Kylie, the brand Kylie, since the 1990s. And so this Kylie Jenner, who's this upstart that just came along. Granted, she's a reality star and with lots of money and probably a model now. I think so. She's a model. She's the one that's a model. Anyway. But so she's been Kylie far longer than Kylie Jenner. And so it wasn't a surprise that she actually won the dispute. And so Kylie Jenner was not able to trademark Kylie because Kylie Minogue, has been trading under that name far prior to that, for a long time prior to that. You just can't then actually pull the rug out from someone's feet, so to speak. Now, 2017 to 2021, she released Golden and Step Back in Time, the definitive collection and disco album. So, and from 2022 to the present, she released Tension and Tension 2. You know, she was working on a 16th studio album. And, of all things, in 2022, she decided, having lived in the UK, London since the 90s, to relocate back to Melbourne. Wow, such a big change, citing a desire to be closer to her family in Australia. And I can understand that. I guess, you know, she's been around, she's done all that she wanted to do and achieve. And yes, in the end, you know, you miss your family. And I guess you want to spend more time. And because she's got all the money that she never needs, what else is there? I guess it's family. That's important. And it's a good thing that she hasn't lost sight of the important things in life. And interestingly enough, in July of that year, she returned to Neighbours to reprise her role as Charlene. I guess that was the episode that was supposed to be the finale episode, the episode where that's going to be the last hurrah for Neighbours. And you've had a lot of these stars come back. I think, I don't know if Craig Pearce came back as well. Some of the other stars came back just as kind of like say hello. And apparently Kylie and Jason Donovan came back and reprised their roles as Charlene and Shane to see where they were up to, living the married life and so forth. I didn't watch that episode, so all the information I have is just hearsay and what I've gleaned bits and pieces from. So that made people's day. People enjoyed it. And I caught a glimpse of it and I'm thinking, yeah, good on her. I'm glad she came back and did that. It's a big acknowledgement of her roots. And that's being someone that's being humble and not afraid or embarrassed to acknowledge where they're from. You do have stars that I guess eventually get too big for their boots, so to speak, and kind of feel embarrassed about where they started off as or ashamed. But not Kylie. So good on for her for that. And interesting enough, 2022 was the rat luck cycle. And in the rat luck cycle, she clashed, and that was a tiger year. And that was a tiger year, 2022. Now, tigers clash with monkeys. And so the monkey actually governs her year pillar. Now, what the year pillar represents is the outside, how people perceive you, and also how you deal with the outside. And the tiger year then clashing with the monkey, basically, she doesn't need, that's the outside, she doesn't need it. She's gone back to her roots, so to speak. And it's what a year it was going back to her roots. Coming back to living back in Australia and her hometown, and also going back to where she came from, so to speak, Neighbours, where it all began. So that was a good on her. Don't need the outside, don't need outwardly perceptions and maintain your image and so forth, that sort of thing. Now, the big thing about Kylie is she's never married. Have you realized that? She's never actually married. Plenty of boyfriends. And I think she got engaged at least once, but never married. So why is that the case? You think with someone very famous, they get exposed and meet a lot of different men and influential men as well. So, but why? And so that's very easy to marry and find a partner. But why not Kylie? Why didn't she? All right. You know what? The thing is, for a woman, the power element is her husband. Okay, this partner is and her husband. And in this case, for Kylie, her power element is wood. And on her chart, there is absolutely no wood at all. Not even a hidden wood. So what does that mean? Well, that means she has no power, and she has no power present in her chart. It's very difficult to marry. It's not impossible, but very difficult, and so you need to make the most of the chances that you get. But I guess Kylie is in a position where she doesn't have to strive for marriage, and so she wouldn't have tried that hard, and because she didn't try that hard, of course, then she didn't marry. Okay, so we'll have a look. Her power elements happened when she was young. Okay, her chances were from 1985 to the year 2004. So those were her best times to marry. In one instance, either she has the power element of wood, or it combined with her house of spouse. Now, the two luck cycles that would combine with the house of spouse would have been the rabbit and the tiger. And her proper power, so to speak, started when she was 17. So if she were to marry, she would have had to marry young. Okay, and I guess to someone whose career is just about to take off, that's a big ask. And so if she married then, it's very hard for her career to take off because, look, a marriage is basically a partnership in life. And when you're a partner with someone, you can't just take off and go. No. You've got to consider your partner as well. And if you just can't take off on a whim or go with whoever, then it's harder for your career to take off because of more restrictions. I had to say, it says hesitate to say the word restrictions, but because you are also accountable to your partner. Okay? Works both ways. But, whatever you're doing also affects your partner. So that's why you've got to take more into consideration. And if you had to take so much into consideration, well, you can't be as flexible as you would otherwise as a single person. Okay? But that's also a thing, being an artist in that type of life. It's different than, say, a corporate environment, far different. In terms of the people you meet, the lifestyle, she would have been on touring and playing late at nights and so forth. Not conducive to a marriage. Doesn't say it can't happen because you look at the Beatles, Paul McCartney and so forth. It can work, but it's far harder the other way around. You've got a husband with a loving, supporting wife that will follow him wherever he goes. Like I say, Paul and Linda McCartney, I think they were only separated apart for like 2 nights in their whole marriage together, which was like, between 20 and 30 years. I don't know how long it was, but it was basically till death they part. It was until he died. So that really was a true marriage. But the other thing is, so what about her engagement where she almost got married? Apparently, she got engaged to a Joshua Sassy. So this is the thing where I'm sure that he is a somebody, but the names of the guy she's with, apart from Michael Hutchins, just don't ring a bell. And she got engaged to him in 2016, and that was during the year of the monkey in 2016. And the monkey year, look, that does not combine with her house of spouse at all, but it combined it with the luck cycle she was in, which was rat. And then in 2017, they broke up. Now, 2017 was the rooster year. Now, the rooster is not a direct clash with the dog. However, we consider it a harm with the dog because the rooster is a direct clash with the rabbit, which is the dog's best friend, or very close friend, I should say, good, close, secret friend. So it's not surprising that she actually had the breakup with Joshua. And also given because her chart had no power, it's very, her relationships are not strong unless she puts a lot of work into it. And unless they've come during the right periods. So I guess being an older woman and I guess past the age where you're in a hurry to really get married and have kids and so forth, and she has other things to deal with, look, if it's not that big a deal, as big a pressing, I guess, a bit passé to her. And and so I broke up, and I guess... that's why she's never married. So not all celebrities marry, I guess, out of choice. Should say there's other celebrities that don't marry, like Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, actually, it'll be interesting to have a look at his chart because his big thing is being smart and not getting married. Ha ha ha, so to speak. And he's being lauded by the MGTOW movement for, yeah, here's a smart guy who never married. Apparently his girlfriends are all under 25, and he hasn't dated anyone over 25, even though he's what, like 50, early 50s now? But he's got the money and the fame, so I guess he can still continue with that. Though with these people, I do wonder how they feel in their old age. Oh, come on, they must feel lonely. Must start getting lonely. But I guess with him having money and being a celebrity, when he's older, he'll still be able to find something. You know, that's the life of a celebrity, but that's not the case with us. We have different issues, as saying we don't have the luxury of having a lot of money and fame behind us. For that appeal, we have to rely on other things. And for that, it's going to be quite hard to find someone when you're older. Doesn't mean it can't happen, because older people are lonely and might bump into someone that's also lonely. And then that's a good thing if you're able to find companionship in your older age. Okay. Well, that's it for Kylie. Now, as I continually say, the key to making marriage great is choosing the right partner in the first place. I mean, once you choose the right partner, then you have just avoided so many issues later on, and avoided so many compromises that you would have needed to make, and adjustments to yourself, which you may or may not be able to do, simply because it's a matter of, can you do something that does not come naturally to you? That's the thing. I mean, psychologists and all these relationship experts are fine to say, yeah, you can get along with anyone, provided you put enough effort in. Yeah, make compromises and make the necessary changes. Well, it's all fine and good, but the big thing is, can you keep it up? Because really, if behavior that does not come naturally to you, you can't keep it up. You will not be able to, because you have to keep remembering to do it, because it doesn't come naturally to you. And once you forget to, then get to do it, you go back to your old habits, because that's it's a default. You can't do it. Okay, so very important to choose the right partner. But the problem is that when people choose, they choose based on on the wrong criteria for marriage, because it's all rather superficial, that criteria. I mean, look, say if I was to ask you, or a typical person, what are you looking for in a partner? And most often than not, they would start, quote things like, if they're willing to admit it, looks, height, maybe hair color even, background, or of a certain class, or again, sense of humor, that sort of thing, and has been dynamic person and all that sort of thing. But what does all that mean? That means it's someone you would enjoy hanging around with. That's what all those criteria is about. But few people think about what qualities that they need a partner to have to be able to live with, that they can easily live with in everyday life. I mean, you would think that's pretty obvious, because, well, looks might mean you find it easier because you feel more proud of them when you go out with them in public, or be attracted to them, to be able to want to get to know them a bit better. So in respect, like I say, looks do serve a purpose, but it's not the be-all and end-all. Should not be the main thing either. And as long as the person is neat and well presented, presentable, that should be all that's required, because other things are far more important. And what they go on about height, height. I mean, it comes to natural instinct. You want a certain height, but and so forth, or even hair color. That's really, you're looking for an aesthetics rather than someone functional. Rather than a life partner. You have to think about what qualities really of your partner that you would enjoy living with them. Living with them would be a joy. And how does living with someone become a joy? Well, when what they do or things they do makes your life easier. Because the more someone makes your life easier, the more you like them and the more you want to be with them. Wouldn't you? Yeah? Well, we're human. Someone makes our life easier. We want them to be around more. So our life would continue to be easier. And this is the thing. How would they make your life easier? Well, if they have life skills. Very important life skills, because life skills deals with life. And when they're able to deal with life, well, it makes your life easier. Wouldn't it? Come on. Okay, but here's the kicker. Now, having known what life skills is important, then people would not know what type of life skills are important. What type of life skills are valuable? So just think about it. Think about it. Okay, given the more life skills your partner has, the better the life you have. But what type of life skills would make your life better or easier? We can start with all the simple ones. The simple ones that people can learn and acquire. And things is learning how to cook, knowing how to cook and cook well. That means you get delicious tasting meals every day without having to go out or get takeaway, which isn't going to be good for you. And remember, restaurants and takeaways and people that sell food, well, their aim is not to make the most nutritious food for you. Their aim is to make as delicious a food they can sell. So when you eat it, you enjoy it, and so you want to come back and buy more. Yeah? If I was a business, I'll do that. And if I was just buying food from a restaurant, that's what I'll think. I'm looking for taste rather than nutrition. So remember that. So a good cook at home is very valuable. And going on that, someone good with home duties. Okay, able to keep a house really clean or be a handyman. If say the pipes leak or the taps do, okay, little things, and your partner, you just deal with it, problem solved. You don't have to be putting up with a dripping tap or have to wait around and try to call up a tradesman. It would take time and money. Yeah, so you have the inconvenience of a dripping tap or leak pipe during that time. And also have to fund up the expense. More life skills, the better. Or be able to change the tire. You wake up in the morning, oh, yeah, your tire's punctured, you need to go to work. What are you going to do then? You try to pick up the phone, have to wait until it's trading hours, which means you're going to be late for work. And not only that, and then they've got to have, if it's going to be on call costs, yeah, as well. You're going to have to book a time. They may not be available today even. Maybe tomorrow. They'll come and on-call costs and not only that, and the expense of someone having to change a tire for you. But not only that, or that's if it's so bad. But if it's still drivable, you can drive to the nearest garage to get it done. But then, again, you've got to wait. And hopefully they've got time for you. In the meantime, very inconvenient there. You lost a day of work, not able to, or you have to try to get alternate means. And it stuffs things up. Whereas if your partner already at home can do it, okay, quickly, take the tools out, change it, off to work you go. And, the partner has the foresight to keep a spare wheel as well. So it's a little things like that. It's just common, I wouldn't say common knowledge, but life skills and life knowledge to be able to actually prepare and be able to do it. So life becomes easier. Or on the flip side, you have a partner or wife that's very good at administration. They're really onto all the bills get taken on time. If a bill looks suspect, she's onto them and right there now. Nothing escapes her eye. Or, ensure that insurance is due. Try to get the best deals for insurance and so forth. Or the mortgage. Maybe we can get a better deal somewhere else, and she really goes out shopping for it and saves you a lot of money. Or make sure the tax returns are lodged as well and on time. These are obligations. In modern day life, it's a lot of work to manage your life, let alone a household. And what happens? That good-looking person, you've got a partner can don't do anything, and you can spend all day looking at how pretty they are and really nice coloured hair and very good bone structure or good height. But how is that going to help you with everyday life and administering stuff? This is all just very basic, very, more common, more simpler stuff. Because then you've got the higher skills, the higher range of skills, which would include things like money management skills. Okay, if they're able to manage money well, what does that mean? That means you have a big nest egg. Okay, money doesn't get to waste, they're spent appropriately. And you know what? If she's more capable to be able to grow the money as well, being able to invest. And I say she because it's normally, like I say, in certain societies like Chinese and Japanese or Korean society, East Asian societies, it's a woman's role to manage the money and the household because it's a big task. And because she's at home, she's got the money, she's got the time and the headspace to be able to spend time to do that. Okay? So it means, what does that mean? Someone with good money management skills is that you're not going to be struggling. If she does a good job, you won't struggle. Things are managed well, and you've got money stashed away for a rainy day. That's what it means. And another thing, a very big thing, can say general, but this is not simple. It's the ability to solve problems. Now, how valuable is that? But how many people actually think of that or think of that as a quality that they need to find in a partner? But that quality is so useful and so valuable. Ability to solve problems, because when you go through life, you encounter problems, either expectedly or unexpectedly, especially unexpectedly when things happen. Oh my God, oh my goodness, how am I going to deal with this? And they're able to come up with a solution or a workaround solution. It's like it's like a lifesaver. You feel, oh my goodness, oh, thank you. You're amazing. And the more your partner can solve problems for you, the more amazing you think they are. Wouldn't you? It'd make your life so much easier. Just think about that. What if you're getting audited? What if you have a disgruntled neighbor? How do you resolve that? Sort of thing. Very, very important skill and very valuable skill, and one that hasn't been given enough importance that it does and enough weight when choosing partners. And people don't even think about it. Choose a partner that can solve problems. Good at solving problems, because he'll be able to solve your problems for you when it comes up. And particularly for men, that they look for, that women look for unconsciously, but it should be consciously. And that is the ability to make the hard and tough decisions and the tough calls. I mean, that's why men have all that testosterone. It's not just physical strength. It's gives them other qualities as well, stamina, not as well stamina, and what is it, spatial ability. Then with the stamina is being able to take the pressure that women cannot. Okay, that is what being a man is, not physical strength or so forth, or how tall it is. It's what makes the man is, can he make the tough decisions? and the hard, tough decisions. Imagine, ladies, just think about it. Isn't that a type of man attractive? And isn't that type of man that you'd want to have in your life? Being able to make the tough calls. Women will wonder why we need men and all these feminists, but then how good are you at making tough decisions? I mean, we just had a woman in New Zealand. She was a captain of a ship, $150 million ship that sank. And apparently she was hired because she was a woman as a diversity hire, not because based on her ability. So doing just things for the sake of making a point can lead to disaster and also death. That's what people don't acknowledge, but they need to. Now, on the other hand, what women are good with is knowing how to do a workaround solution. Would be, for a woman, that is very valuable skill to have. Gentlemen, think about that. If she's good at doing a workaround solution to issues or problems, that is great. And also generally the ability to think of alternatives. If you've hit a stalemate and there's an issue, what do we do? What do we do? How do we resolve this? Well, and she's able to think, or he's able to think of a workaround solution. Isn't that great? You've managed, may not even solve it directly, indirectly, but either way, that issue is now gone. Off your head, and less stress. And the less stress in your life, the better. Now, going on to choosing a partner with life skills. And what type of life skills are important? I mean, what type of life skills would be very useful in a marriage that many people do not think of? They do not realize even life skills are important. But we use it all the time, and the greater the life skills someone has, well, the easier our life would be, especially if they're a partner, because they'll be putting those things to work for us as well. We benefit. So I've gone through the simpler life skills like cooking, good with home duties, being a handyman, and good at admin. But and then the higher life skills such as money management and ability to solve problems. But also there are professional skills. I mean, if your partner is a career professional, then they would also bring along those skills as well with them. And what they should do is also make it work for you as well. Well, as I say, working for you as well, those skills. Like things like if they had legal training or they're a lawyer or certain forth, just say they happen to be a contract lawyer or good at contracts, or business lawyers, saying if you've got a business, just imagine how valuable having a partner with those skills would be. It's on call all the time with the legal issues surrounding the business. I mean, I know you can go to lawyers and pay them for advice, but the thing is, remember, when you're paying people, they are going to be doing the least amount that they can get away with charging you for. And not only that, if you ask something, they'll answer it and find the answer to your question directly, because that's what you're paying for, but they're not going to do anything else. They're not going to do a step further, that something you might want to be doing something, go in a certain direction and ask them the legalities of that. But they might know that there's an easier way or a cheaper way to do it. But because you don't know to ask them and you're not paying them to go the extra mile and think of the alternatives, I mean, if you knew there was kind of like an alternative that you'd be paying for them to search it, but if you don't, you wouldn't. And so you miss out on that. They were not going to tell you. They're not going to research an easier way or cheaper way for you. However, your partner that has all that training and all that knowledge, if they're a true partner, they would be doing it proactively, maybe thinking of easier way, cheaper way of doing things. simply because, remember, as a partnership, a marriage is a partnership. What your partner does and how well they do directly affects you because you're in the same boat together. You're sharing a life and you're holding hands and going through this together. And so, yeah, that is the advantage, and that's what they should be doing for you. Not you living your separate lives like you're an engineer and they're a lawyer and so forth. You only come home and that's the amount of interaction you have, talking over dinner and then go to bed. Okay, it's much more that it's integrating your life together and using your skills for the betterment of your marriage. And that means also helping your partner. So, things like legal training, or if you've got accounting skills or tax knowledge or training, that's very valuable as well. There goes the professional sphere as well. Or even there might be an engineer, probably not not so relevant for you, but if they can think of, make a new product or something you can both sell together. They can come up with it and you can market it, so to speak. That is at a professional level. And the problem is people don't realize how valuable these skills are. And especially, when people do online dating, these skills do not show up on their profile. And it's very hard to convey it. How many, in terms of the professional skills, yeah, that's probably easy in that way because more often than not, they list what they actually do, their profession. How you can infer with that. But what about all the other things? Like, especially the ones about problem solving. Have you ever seen a dating profile for all those that do online dating? Have you seen a dating profile that they list interests or skills, problem solving? Almost never, because they don't realize how valuable that is. But also because even if they do, they don't know how that's going to be received, or if people will put any value in it to list that. Because commonly they just list interests and so forth. And even if they want to convey it, it's very hard to convey something based on a profile. You have your height, weight maybe not so much weight now, age, interests, what you do, education level. But from all that, you can't surmise or conclude how good a problem solver they are. That's just one example. And another thing that is that people may have the potential to develop these skills and would eventually have those skills, but they may not develop it until like their 40s or 50s. But people need to marry young, and then they can't show it on their profile because they haven't developed it yet, or even say it on their profile, or lots of qualities in that. Because normally when you make a judgment on someone or what they're going to be like and so forth, you look at the surrounding parameters or conditions and try to conjure up what they're going to be like. Saying, okay, I might be 26, 27 doing an office admin job. Well, okay, and their interests on the weekend, going shopping, and maybe if they might list their interest in cooking or whatever, or most likely at that age, adventure. What does that tell you about the person? Not really much. Okay, if they've gone to, being the admin, clerical staff, that doesn't tell you what other skills that they have. And people have a certain idea saying, okay, basic person and so forth. But at that age, they have nothing to show, even though they have all that potential in there that would eventually develop into that, or they have that innate skill that has basically untouched and unused. So those things don't come out. Okay, I mean, maybe in your 50s you say, yeah, I've done this, and this. I had a stellar career doing so many different things. Then you can say, oh yeah, that person's got a lot of skills. They would have accumulated all this knowledge and all these skills. What a handy person to have around. But that's in a later age when then they can show that, demonstrate that. But, when you're trying to date when you're young, it's very hard. Okay, and to be fair, the person may not develop anything, or they may develop lots, but you cannot tell from a dating profile. And to me, that's one of the biggest drawbacks of online dating is because of that. You cannot really properly surmise much about that person from a dating profile. It's very much surface and superficial. And especially when people have an idea in their head of what they're attracted to. Oh, it's got to be this height, this age with certain hair color and so forth, be this type of classy person or so forth, then you are going to overlook all people with substantial qualities and qualities that do matter. Okay? And, usually what ends up, as all these substantial qualities is what usually ends up working best if you want a happy family and a happy family life and a happy marriage. And those are the things that you need in a partner. But firstly, you've got to be aware of those are good things and what they are. And you've got to be aware that that's what you should be picking and choosing if you want to get ahead in life and have an easier life, so to speak. Because, think of it being able to show something later on in your older age. It also comes back to this is what's really been happening in real life. And what I mentioned before is that women are born rich and get poorer as they age, and men are born poor and get richer as they age. Okay, and wealth for women, like it or not, it's a youth and beauty in the dating market. And for a man, it's his resources. And resources nowadays is money, okay? Because money is able to get you resources and looking after. So a man, as he gets older and goes through his career and life, he accumulates more resources. And women, as they go through life, they age and their fertility drops. And so it's been part and parcel again and again. Older men keep able to date younger women and still in the market, still able to attract younger women as long as they've got resources. And younger women can date older men. And older women would find it harder to date because they're competing with younger women for the same men. Okay? And for men, usually no matter how, it's not impressed by how much money a woman's able to bring in. Really, if you ask a man, what would you like most in a woman? Is a woman that's pleasant to be around, makes life happy and pleasant. So, yeah, comes to the thing. I mean, because of that, I've seen it time and again, and in so many places and culture, that men need to work on their careers first, and then marry once they're established. Once they've got the resources to look after a family. And women, because of the biological clock and so forth, need to focus on raising a family first and then go off and do your careers, because women's fertility is only when it's young. I mean, it's terrible the hand that women have been dealt, but it is what it is. And feminists would be up in arms as to what I've said. But hey, you can just look at examples like Gail Kelly, she was the former CEO of St. George Bank, a major bank in Australia. And for her, she raised 5 children and became CEO. Wow. She raised the children when she was young. I mean, she started off as just being a bank teller. And then gradually, she became CEO. Raised the family first. And then her career. All that it's over. The children have left the nest, so to speak, and moved out and so forth. She's got all the time hand. Duties of mum, nurturing role is over. Now, focus on her career, what she wants to do, if that's what women want to do. Okay? It's more often than not then, it's something that at that age, it's not about finding money to raise children. It's more about making a point for women. And certainly some women think that they've got something to prove, and if they want to prove it, by all means, prove their worth, prove it, and even show what they can do. If not for the world or other people, even for themselves, it's a certain amount of satisfaction, personal satisfaction. To say, yeah, I've done this in my life. I've achieved this. Okay? Now, we're coming towards the end of the show, and I've dished out a lot of advice regarding making a marriage great. And as I said before, it all starts with choosing the right partner in the first place. I cannot emphasize that enough. Because it's just like a jacket, the more the jacket fits naturally, okay, when you put it on, then the least amount of alterations you need to do to it to make it fit right. Because if you have to do so many alterations on a jacket, then it's never going to look right. But if there's only a small alteration to get it there perfect, then that's fine. So that's the thing. Just like finding the jacket that fits, start off with finding the jacket that fits us the best. Start off by finding the partner that is the most compatible with us. Okay? And so the fewer alterations, compromises, and things that we have to go through. And what does that also mean? Now, this is one of the things people don't realize, that the more life quality someone has, the better it is for you. Because the more life skills they have, then the easier your life is going to be. Okay, not only that, it makes your life easier, you're going to be happier. And when your life is happier, the relationship gels more. And also, it ensures that you stay with a partner. Because the more someone makes your life easier, the more you like them and the more you want to be with them, don't you? I would. So that's natural human behavior. Why wouldn't you? If someone is so good to you, obviously makes your life so good, so much easier. Okay? And so that's the thing. If you want to market yourself and be attractive to a prospective partner, what it should be is make sure you've got life skills. Okay? And this is what some people should be looking for, life skills in a partner when choosing a partner. Not superficial things like height or looks and things. Yes, they do play a part in making you attracted enough to someone at first glance to want to get to know them more. But that should be it. I mean, it's just like how as nice a view or as nice as the painting is, how many times are you going to keep looking at it? Before it starts becoming mundane and it's almost like, yeah, kind of thing. So, yeah, and what are life skills that people should be thinking of when choosing a partner? Could be simple ones like cooking, good at household chores, and good at admin, or being even a handyman, able to change a tire, that sort of thing. Or higher levels such as money management and so forth, and being able to solve problems. That is a big thing, because in life, you're always going to encounter problems, whether it be of your own doing or someone else's doing, or problems just pop up. I think you know what I mean. It's always good to be able to solve them. And if your partner can solve them when you can't, what an absolute blessing that is. Believe me. And and those are the things that people need to consider. But unfortunately, with things like online dating or so forth, or checking someone out at the pub, you can't decipher that. You can't tell that. And it's very hard to convey that sort of thing too. I'm good at problem solving. It's just, if you saw that on a dating profile, you're kind of like, what does that mean? They're good at maths, or they're good at the crossword puzzles. Or, yeah, and if people don't understand or think and don't understand the value, then it's difficult. Okay. But those are the things that people need to consider. And even, even the better professional skills. If they have professional skills, that can help you in your life as well. Of course, then it provided your partner actually works for you or with you to build your life together. And because, just imagine if they're a lawyer and so forth, all of a sudden you've got years of study and experience right at your fingertips, on call and working for you. That is an asset, provided though that the partner with the skills knows to that they're in a partnership and works with you. So that's a big kicker. And we looked at Kylie Minogue's chart. She has done so well. She's got a career spanning, over 35 years or so forth. And she's been so consistent with her career. I mean, she's still famous, albeit not as worldwide famous and well known as someone say Madonna. But she is, of course, he has made quite a career for herself and also quite a bit of money for herself as well along the way. Started off in Neighbours. I can tell from her chart. She was in a period where it was her favourable element. Okay, and then she got the lift off from all the way in Neighbours. She was only there for like 3 years and her career took off. She was transitioning into singing while she was in Neighbours still. And her Locomotion album, her debut, was released just a week after that big wedding episode of so much publicity with Jason Donovan. So they did extremely well. She did extremely well, far better than he did. I think afterwards he got a singing career too. But then his did not take off like hers did. Also, I guess you heard he was into so many drugs and so forth, and like he's fainting in nightclubs and so forth, things like that. I haven't heard what's happened to him or what's he doing lately, but the fact that you don't hear of him just tells you that he hasn't been successful. And so, or her chart, she's done extremely well in the UK. I think helped to a great extent, and at least in the initial phase, by Neighbours being so popular there. I mean, it was shown a few times a day and people were taking time off work just to come home and watch it. Because back then you didn't have cable or on demand. It was just free to air TV, and you had to be in front of the TV at a certain time, if people remember that. And so, so that really helped to boost her. And a few years ago, like 2 years ago, she relocated back from the UK back to Melbourne, back to her hometown, and then back to Neighbours as Charlene again in the role that made her famous and launched her career. And that was during the supposedly finale episode. I mean, it was great to see her back, and I guess kudos to her, great credit that she's willing to go back to her roots. She hasn't forgotten what's given her the path to stardom, so to speak. I mean, yeah, and I could see her, Joe, and had a look and saying it's very interesting. She's never married. You see lots of singers and so forth married. Like Jennifer Lopez has been married like 4 times, something like that. And Beyonce's been married once, but she's married Jay-Z when she was like 9, or been with him since she was 19, and they married him. And so forth. You've seen lots of other singers married, female singers married, but not Kylie, which was really interesting. So, and seeing that she's being famous, she would have been exposed and around a lot of men. So it's not for lack of opportunities. But why didn't she marry? I thought I'd look in her chart, and it's because she doesn't have a power element. And so because of that, it's very difficult to marry, simply because nothing else. Well, you never quite encounter the right person. A lot of the times when this type of chart happens for women without power in their charts. So it's not that whatever she says, it's not that she doesn't want to. I guess the right partner, she just hasn't been lucky enough to meet the right partner. She had chances though in early career from when she was 17 in the early age, but at that age, well, things were happening for her. She was not going to marry, and I guess she missed that chance. And then after that, it becomes very difficult because she doesn't encounter the power element, or I think up to what 97 or something, 1997. Then no more combining with our house of spouse in terms of the luck cycles. It's just yearly, but then it's harder in the year, particularly for a woman that has no power element. She's far more chances during the luck cycles. But those have passed, and from looking at that, it seems like Kylie is going to remain unmarried for the rest of her life. Whether it's intentional or by design, we're not too sure, but it looks like marriage is not on the cards for her in this lifetime. Unfortunately, she had a chance in the beginning, but yeah, it's over. So no marriage, so it doesn't seem like her chances now are way, way lower than before. So, but she, ends up not everyone marries in life. It is what it is. And so that's why when you want to, ladies, if you want to marry, it's best to have a chart reading done and find out for yourself whether or not how easy or how difficult it is for you to marry. Because the easier it is, well, those that are easy, they get swamped with a lot of offers and choices. Then it becomes difficult. But the harder ones are hard, you need to know it so that you make the most of your opportunities that come your way, because they're a lot fewer and far between. Okay? So that's that. Okay. I hope you enjoyed the show, and let me know what you think by leaving your comments on my Facebook page. You can just search for Miss Dragonfly or Make Marriage Great Again, which is another Facebook page. Best to follow both, but at least follow one, because I do post different things on the Facebook pages. Okay? And if there is a subject or a topic you'd like me to cover, then please feel free to leave your comments there as well. And if I'm able to cover it, then I will. So that's it for the show. Remember to join me again at the same time next week. So until then, it's bye for now.